We learned the heart can beat on its own. However, our autonomic nervous system can influence the rate at which the heart beats. In the medulla oblongata, we learned last semester that the cardiac center is in the medulla, which can control your heart rate. So we split that ANS up to sympathetic and parasympathetic. One division will stimulate faster heart rates, and the other will slow it down. So in the medulla, we have a cardioexcitatory center where the sympathetic nervous system will be used. Here we go. There's the lateral horn. Now we're in the sympathetic chain ganglion. It's a 2-neuron system because we're in the ANS. We learned this last semester. But there's our nerve innervation to the pacemakers, SA node, even to the AV node and other pacemakers. So the sympathetic nervous system is going to work to increase both the rate and the force in the heart. Just the opposite, the medulla has a cardio-inhibitory center, which is going to send parasympathetic impulses. There's our synapse, of course. It's a 2-neuron system. That's from A&P Part 1. But parasympathetic innervation to those same areas will decrease the rate. So even though the heart can contract on its own, it's going to be influenced by our autonomic nervous system, sympathetic in times of stress or exercise or excitement, and then under normal conditions, the parasympathetic will slow it back down. So we've been looking at the autorhythmic or non-conducting cells of the heart, but most of the muscle fibers in the heart are contractile, means they're there to contract when called upon to do so, and they are the ones responsible, of course, since they're contracting, for the pumping action. Now, how they contract is different from skeletal muscle for 2 reasons. Action potentials in skeletal muscles, you can see how quick they are, 1 to 2 milliseconds, while they're 100 times longer in length as far as time in cardiac muscle. So since the action potentials last a lot longer, right, then the contraction is going to last a lot longer as well. So in skeletal muscle, we can contract them and then they'll relax right away. They'll last a lot longer in cardiac muscle. So when you have a cardiac muscle contracts, the contraction is sustained, and that's important for efficient ejection of blood, which acts as for an effective pump. And of course, with a longer refractory period, which we looked at a little earlier, that prevents summation, which means one contraction building in strength on another. That does not happen in cardiac muscle. So in the contractile cardiac muscle cells, we see this very quick depolarization. These fast voltage-gated sodium channels cause depolarization in almost no time, right? But then we have this plateau phase because we have prolonged action potentials. And depolarization by sodium also opens slow calcium channels. So it's depolarized, but it stays depolarized, and that allows the muscle to stay contracted longer for more blood ejection. Right? And that's the plateau phase, which we don't see in other skeletal muscles, only in contractile cardiac muscle cells. Right? And then, of course, you'll have the repolarization phase, and we'll go through that all over again. So if you look at this graph, well, remember, the cells have to be depolarized before they contract. It takes a split second. So here's the actual contraction, and you can see the contraction getting stronger and stronger even throughout this plateau phase. The tension is increasing, and not until right here where depolarization begins does the tension decrease. Right, so the action potentials in blue here, where the tension in the muscle, which happens slightly after, right, is in purple.